Cheers to togetherness. Last week, I came on and I was talking about relationships and community and kind of told a story about that and how important relationships are. So this week, I wanted to go do the opposite of that and talk about the loneliness in travel sometimes, because it's very real. So I'll open up with a quote from my recent book. He knew straight away she wasn't right. He ignored her venomous love only because he wanted any love, even if it meant getting bit by a snake. That is what loneliness does. Lets you accept being poisoned, which is true. A lot of people, we scream to be heard, we beg to be seen, we want to be a part of anything or any community and just not be so alone. So when it comes to love, sometimes we just, we just accept the toxic people. We just let ourselves be poisoned, which is not a good thing. I think we need to edify ourselves and become confident in who we are and learn how to be okay with our solitude and be okay with our own loneliness. Because you can find happiness in the simplest things if you allow yourself to. It could be watching a movie, it could be fun to read a book, it could be fun to make art, or go for a walk. I mean, there are different definitions of fun. It doesn't always have to be partying with people or being with huge groups of people. As soon as you find to be lonely or happy in your own lonely solitude, it's better to start letting less toxic people in. But I was going to share a story about the contrast between loneliness traveling abroad versus traveling with people abroad and making friends and relationships. So, I'm almost out. San Pellegrino was pretty good. Anyway, so I was in Paris, and this was when I first got there after my phone got stolen in Barcelona. So I had to book a hostel for a couple weeks, and I had no way to communicate with people. I'd meet a lot of people in the hostel, but I couldn't follow up with them, or I couldn't text them to make plans. I would just kind of see them and be like, hi, because I couldn't communicate with them, which was kind of a real bummer. So I ended up exploring Paris by myself for a while, like for a week or a week and a half, waiting for my phone to get to me. And so I'd go to like the Louvre, or I'd go to the Rivers or the Tower Eiffel, or just a lot of places. I'd just go by myself, and I'd get there and it'd be really fun, really beautiful to explore, but the same zeal wasn't there when I was by myself. I'd be like, oh, cool. Like I had no enthusiasm seeing the place. I'd be like, all right, cool. Like it's there, I'm here. Who do I share this with? I had no one to share the excitement with. So the excitement kind of got dimmed down a little bit, which was kind of unfortunate. So eventually I did get my phone back, and I ended up connecting with a new friend in the hostel, and decided to kind of do a revamp or a rerun through Paris again. And I was coming to my closing, and I have my plane ride coming up in a couple of days. I'm like, I gotta fast forward on this trip. Like, what were the highlights? I'm gonna do that again. So I took a day/night with this friend, and we just started bombing around the city. I think first we went to like Notre Dame together, and there happened to be like a firework show, like some guy just performing with fireworks outside, just lighting everything up. There's a whole crowd of music. It was just like, wow. It was so cool. And this was in the dark at night at this point. But it's so much fun to just see that guy and like have someone to share the excitement with. And then we're like, what do you want to do next? We're like, oh, let's go to Sacré-Cœur. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's like Sacré-Cœur. It means Sacred Heart, which is like a chapel on top of the city. And we ended up going all the way up there, bombing all the way up to the top of the city, taking the subways and like little train rides up there, or trams, whatever they're called. And we went to like this sermon from this person, and they were speaking French, and we just listened to this sermon, not knowing what they were saying, but it was still really exciting and fun to feel the religious energy and all the people, and how inviting anybody was invited to go. It was really, really cool. So we watched that, was a part of that, came out just enlightened. We just felt good. After that, there was a street show right on the steps of Sacré-Cœur on top of the city. Like, you can look over the city, and there was a guy just playing like a little guitar show, and we're like, oh my god, this is so fun, just sharing this excitement, having a beer. Some random people shared their beers with us and cheers and meeting more friends, and like we're just lighting up with excitement and happiness. And started to explore the building a little bit. We're like, it's almost midnight, like why don't we go to Eiffel Tower? Like, it has to be beautiful. So we booked it all the way to the Eiffel Tower, got there before midnight, and at midnight it just started glimmering and the lights were shining and the moon was behind it, and it was just so exciting. It was so much fun. And we were just like jumping around, taking pictures, like sharing the excitement together, just making a bond, making a friendship. But just having that one other person made it that much more exciting to be doing all those things. Because I guarantee if I did all those things by myself, not being able to share the excitement with someone, it wouldn't have been as, beautiful, wouldn't have been as fun. So kind of at the end of the day, it is better to be with someone sharing the experiences instead of alone, kind of on a lonely journey. But it is more fun to share experiences with people. And then after that, I met a girl in the hostel that couldn't count to 7. Good friend of mine still. See if she sees that. But anyway, so traveling when you're solo can get lonely sometimes. So I think it's a good time to branch out and make friends and learn how to cultivate relationships and decipher the toxic people from the non-toxic people, and who to let in and who to share with and who to share the experiences with, and or even set aside differences to share a common experience with. So make it quick and short today. Hopefully have a guest next week. Got one planned. We'll see if it pans out. Thank you for listening, and cheers to togetherness. See you later.